In a peaceful village nestled between rolling green hills, there lived two farmers, Deepak and Raghav. Deepak was hardworking, honest, and content with his simple life. He spent his days tending to his fields, ensuring that his crops were well nourished. His sincerity and dedication bore fruit. His harvests were always abundant, and he was respected by everyone in the village. On the other hand, Raghav was a man consumed by envy. He was lazy and lacked the patience to care for his fields. Instead of putting in the effort to improve his own farm, he spent his days watching Deepak and resenting his success. "Why does Deepak's farm flourish while mine remains barren?" he would grumble to himself. Instead of working harder, he let jealousy fester in his heart. One day, news spread across the village that the king was looking for the finest produce from the land. The farmer with the best harvest would receive a grand reward and a position in the royal granary. Raghav saw this as his golden opportunity, but he knew his own fields would never yield anything worthy of the king's praise. That night, he devised a wicked plan. Under the cover of darkness, Raghav sneaked into Deepak's farm and stole baskets full of the finest fruits and grains. As he carried them away, he whispered to himself, "Now, the king will reward me instead of Deepak." The next morning, he proudly presented the stolen produce to the king, claiming them as his own. The king examined the harvest and nodded in approval. "Raghav, you have proven yourself to be the finest farmer in the kingdom. You shall be rewarded handsomely." Overcome with pride, Raghav felt victorious. However, the king then said, "I would love to see your farm and learn your methods. Let us visit your fields tomorrow." Raghav's heart pounded in fear. His smile faded. "My farm, Your Majesty?" he stuttered. "Yes, it would be an honor." He forced a grin, but deep inside, panic set in. He spent the night trying to make his barren fields appear lush, but there was no way to fake a thriving farm. The next morning, the king, along with his ministers and Deepak, arrived at Raghav's land. The sight of the dry, empty fields made the king's face darken. "Raghav," he thundered, "this land has not been tended to in years. How dare you deceive me?" the villagers murmured among themselves. Deepak stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I recognize those crops. They are from my farm," he said calmly. The villagers nodded in agreement. The king turned to Raghav furious. "You let jealousy blind you and resorted to theft instead of hard work. Deceit never goes unpunished." As a consequence, Raghav was stripped of his land and banished from the village. Meanwhile, the king rewarded Deepak for his honesty and diligence, making him the official supplier of grains to the royal court. As Raghav walked away from the village in shame, he realized the bitter truth: jealousy and deceit could never replace hard work and sincerity. He had lost everything because he had tried to take shortcuts to success. Success is not about luck, it is about effort. Hard work and perseverance always bear fruit, while shortcuts lead only to regret. Envy is a silent poison. It clouds judgment, fuels negativity, and ultimately leads to self-destruction. Truth and integrity will always shine through. No matter how well lies are crafted, they will eventually be exposed, just as the sun rises after the darkest night. Shortcuts may offer temporary gain, but they guarantee long-term loss. Real success comes from patience, dedication, and honest efforts. Instead of resenting others' success, strive to build your own. Focus on growth, learning, and self-improvement rather than being blinded by jealousy. Your work speaks louder than words. A well-tended field, a persistent effort, and a determined heart will always stand stronger than deception. Karma sees all. What you sow, you shall reap. Deception may provide momentary pleasure, but in the end, justice prevails. Jealousy leads to one's downfall, while honesty, perseverance, and dedication will always be rewarded in the end.